morning, my ferocious fangs. Happy Friday. I hope you all are doing marvelous and having a spectacular day. I mentioned earlier this week that I was going to dive into exorcisms of Japanese culture further. To do that, I looked into Shintoism because that is their dominant religion there. So you might be wondering, what is Shintoism? Well, it's believed that humans are Kami's child, which basically is a god. That means that we were given life by Kami and are sacred. It also means that daily life is made possible by Kami, and the personalities, along with our lives, are worthy of respect. We also must revere the basic human rights of everyone, regardless of race, nationality, or any other distinctions, as well as our own. The faith also believes that we are not solitary beings, separated from one another. We're actually linked. Because Taoism has a similar belief to Buddhism that we all become one in death. That makes sense. We do have individual minds, though. We also are the bearers of a long continuous history that comes down from our ancestors and continues into our descendants, which is partially why we're connected, because a lot of people's families are connected, if you think about it. Because people marry into each other's families, and then they have kids, and they marry into other people's families, and it just keeps going. So that kind of makes sense. Purification, or exorcism, is believed to symbolically remove the dust and impurities that cloud over our minds, but it also can include removing malicious spirits or evil entities from us that are causing us issues. So how exorcisms are conducted typically utilize water and salt in the Japanese faith. Although a hiragushi can also be used, which is a purification wand that consists of a stick with streamers of white paper or flax attached to the end. The hiragushi is waved by a priest over the person, place, or object being purified. Purification rituals are performed at the beginning of Shinto religious ceremonies as well. There are actually many different types of purification rituals, though. I think there's like 3 specifically, though. But one of them is rinsing the face and hands with pure water at the start of a shrine visit in order to make the visitor pure enough to approach the kami at the shrine. I've also heard that they rinse their mouths out as well to completely remove everything so they can be pure enough to speak to the god of the shrine. The purification ritual came from the legend of the god Izanagi no Mikoto, who washed himself free of pollution after visiting his wife in the land of the dead. And I like when they have these types of stories that explain things a little better, because I've always wondered where some things come from and what starts traditions. Misogi is a broad term to cover purification rituals in general, or purification rituals that use water to free the body and mind from pollution. Whereas the Orai is a ceremony of great purification. It's a special ritual that is used to remove sin and pollution from a large group of people or area. The ritual typically is performed at the end of June and December in the imperial household and at the other shrines in order to purify the whole population, which is pretty cool. Shubatsu is another purification ritual that uses salt. The salt is sprinkled on priests or worshippers or on the ground to purify it. One example of this I'm sure you've heard of is in sumo wrestling, where the fighters sprinkle salt around the ring to purify it. I always wondered why they did it, and now I know, and if you wondered, well, now you know as well. There are roughly 80,000 Shinto shrines in Japan, which I thought was fascinating. That is a big number. Although I do wonder how many churches are in America, because I know in my town we have, I think, 4 churches. I think 4. I want to say 4. And then there's a few right near us as well. So I could see us having a bunch of churches as well. Just about every neighborhood has a Shinto shrine as well in Japan. Most are associated with a specific god or kami, though. However, they are not fixed, and it's not unusual for a shrine to add new gods to address the needs of their followers. During the early days of Shintoism, there weren't any shrines, though. Instead, worshippers gathered and performed simple rites near sacred objects, such as a sakaki tree, which are now present at every shrine. I also read that they planted trees at their sacred spots. And it's probably why in most Shinto shrines there's a lot of dense foliage in those areas, and I wonder if that's why. The early Shinto shrines were also marked with special ropes and strips of white paper, which I think would help them know where the secret spots were, because how would you know if they got paused with all the foliage? So I did wonder about that. So I think that's kind of cool. Fences and torii gates were introduced later. However, ropes and white paper are still common features of all shrines. Shinto shrines also vary in shape and size, as you can see from behind me. There's a Shinto shrine. Some are very small, some are big, and some are really big. And they actually are made to a specific dimension and out of specific things. I'm going to leave links in the description below so you can read up on all that, because I thought it was really interesting. Many also have specific purposes attached to them. There are shrines for pregnant women who want a safe delivery, others for fishermen to return safely from the sea. Homes and offices have small Shinto shrines to ward off evil spirits and protect the building from fires, earthquakes, and typhoons. I thought it was really interesting how different their practices are compared to Christian practices. I also thought it was fascinating how the people who require purification or exorcism travel to seek the assistance of a priest when their physical ailments aren't being treated by medical science. So if the medications aren't working or the doctors don't have an answer for their ailments, what's causing it, a lot of times they go to the shrine where a priest is to get assistance through faith. I can honestly see the draw to try something to relieve the pain. I know we've probably all been there where we've been in so much pain and nothing seems to work, like a headache, and we take aspirin and it doesn't take the headache away. And sometimes it's hard to go through the day with a migraine, or maybe you hurt your back or whatever, and there's no reason why for it. So I can see the draw. What do you think about the Shinto practices for exorcism? Well, purification, excuse me. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Later tonight, I'll be discussing possession in films versus reality. Don't want to miss that. Click the bell icon, and I hope to see you later. Take care until next time. Bye, everyone.